Welcome, Fantasizers. This is your Big Fat Fantasy. We're back at it again. I'm Anthony Bravo.
And I'm Nicholas Logan, episode 19 of your BFF for the YouTube channel. And we're going to bring you just a little special content, just talk about our Dynasty leagues and obviously while we're going through teams, talk about some players to kind of give you the whole runaround of a Dynasty league, midway through the home stretch of the season. We're now getting to the double-digit weeks, heading into week 10. 5 weeks left of the regular season and then playoffs. And right now is the time where you kind of know where your team's headed and.
Yeah, and I love these kind of videos because we get to personally tell everyone about our fantasy teams, our personal strategies.
Talk about each player too.
Yeah.
And their fantasy relevance as well at this point through the season. And
Yeah, if we made any moves, we like to talk about why we made those moves and kind of our strategies and, so let's just get into it. We're going to start off with our league that we're in our second year in, which is Shark Tank. You're actually first place in that league. You're 7-2, sitting pretty. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, I feel good. I think this is like the perfect time that we started our Dynasty video. We haven't done one since our third video. We're now on video 19, and we're both in first place. I'm first place in Shark Tank, which is now our second year. You're obviously first place in Big Dawgs, which is our first year startup league, and that feels good. I had a tough, gritty win this past week, but I like my chances. I said it in like the third video or so where I said, I haven't really had like my full team. It wasn't our third video, but I said in one of our videos earlier where I said I haven't really had my full team to full health like I thought I would, and so far it's still been the same story through 9 weeks. And
Yeah.
hopefully they can get healthy. Hopefully I can stay in a playoff spot. Hopefully I can get maybe a first round bye for that playoff, get that first or second seed, and head in. Give my players some rest, and just head into just have to win 2 games after that bye week, and just hope I can get my team just fully healthy right now. I mean, if you look, Jalen Hurts has obviously been healthy and the star of the show, and that's pretty much it. I mean, Geno Smith was a steal for me. He's been solid all year long, and a guy, like I said multiple times already, I did not expect to have starting in my lineup. I had thoughts of dropping him and trading him away, and now
Yeah.
I need him. I was able to still have Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Sam Ellinger, young guys that maybe they can fill in if they get a good matchup late in the season I could throw in. But other than that, I haven't had really, like, Jonathan Taylor hasn't really done anything. DeAndre Swift hasn't done anything. Mike Evans was suspended, and he had some up and down games. Kyle Pitts obviously hasn't done anything. Devonta Smith has been a hit or miss week in, week out. Michael Pittman's been a miss week in, week out.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to have Breece Hall to start the season, and he was my main back, my main fantasy scorer when he took over that backfield in New York. And once he got injured, I was fortunate enough to trade Leonard Fournette. For Leonard Fournette, now I have him, and he's been pretty consistent for the most part on my team. I was able to get a 2023 first rounder in that deal as well.
And you got Rashad White too, his handcuff.
Yeah, Rashad White got the handcuff, so in case anything happens to Fournette, he's gonna step right in there, and we've seen what Rashad White does when he's on that field. I just had a lot of guys that have been just hit or miss, guys that I had to plug in. I had Clyde Edwards I was able to plug in when he started off hot, and now he's back up to Isaiah Pacheco, the rookie, and Tyler Algier stepped up for me as well, filling in for Cordero Patterson. So just Romeo Dobbs has had some up and down games. So has George Pickens, but just a lot of guys that I was able to be fortunate enough to have that depth and to fill in for guys that I expected to be my main starters. And right now I'm still trying to make some moves. I don't want to really give away some of my youth. Like I don't want to really give away Jonathan Taylor and Swift yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do want to win it this year, of course, but I don't want to throw away my future either to do it.
Yeah.
If my team's not going to be healthy this year, then they're not going to be that healthy. But I'm not going to go away and like trade Swift and JT for like a Derrick Henry or like a Christian McCaffrey. I'd rather just hold on to these guys, the guys that I'm like looking for, like a Travis Etienne, like a Josh Jacobs type guys that are 24, 22 years old. That if I trade like Swift or Fournette or trade some of these guys away with some picks. There's some teams in this league that are rebuilding. If I can maybe get a for sure back, for sure starter, and a young starter at that, then I would be happy. But right now, I like my team. I mean, I'm in first place for a reason. Like, we just got to get healthy. And once, we get healthy and, it's a scary team. I feel like I'm favored to win. I still have a lot of picks for the next few years.
Yeah, I was just about to comment on that. You have so many picks. You have 2 first-rounders for the 23, 2 second-rounders, and 2 third-rounders.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, just I don't want to give away all those picks. I wouldn't mind giving away some to get, like I said, a nice starter in there, maybe a nice receiver. But right now, I like my team where we are. So
yeah, for sure. And I just want to talk about probably your biggest competition is Dilf.
Yeah, Timmy.
Timmy. Yeah, his team is pretty scary. We always talk about those for sure players on this show, and I feel like Timmy's team has a lot of those for sure players. He has he has a Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, AJ Brown. Like those 4 players already. Those 4 players can get you like a guaranteed 80 to 100 points a week. So.
Yeah.
He has DK Metcalf, Dallas Goedert, Terry McLaurin. I'm not a big fan of Juju, but he has Juju and Justin Fields, a guy that he's on the come up this year. He's showing major improvement. Had his first 40 piece last week, and
he bought him for the low too.
Bought him for the low. Let's
trade away Jameis Winston and a first rounder, I believe, and I think he got back Fields in a couple seconds or a third, but he definitely got him while low, and that's a dynasty QB1 possibly the way he's been playing lately.
For sure,
and like you said, he has a lot of for sure players. Definitely, that's why I say my team needs to be healthy to compete against that. Like, if I can go and trade and get some guys I can compete against, like Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb, who like probably finish as the 1 and 2 back this year.
Yeah.
Then but I mean, AJ Brown's been good, Metcalf, and obviously Mahomes is gonna put up 20-25 week in week out, no matter who he's facing.
And we like to talk about having depth as well. Timmy definitely has a lot of depth. He has Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback 3, Kareem Hunt on the bench. He has Deontay Foreman, who's pretty much the lead back in Carolina right now. He has James Conner, who is coming back from injury, but was looking like the running back 1 in his return, and Jeff Wilson popping off in Miami. So a lot of depth for Timmy's team for sure.
Yeah,
and also has Allen Robinson and
coming hot. Yeah.
So Timmy's team.
And he has draft picks for the future too. So.
Yeah, for sure.
At the beginning of the year, me and Timmy were like the favorited teams to win it all, and right now I'm the first seed and he's second seed, and
it's playing out just like we thought.
Yeah, but
and he has Jamison Williams on IR, very scary player.
Yeah, if he can come back, we'll see. At this point, I don't think the Lions will even rush him back this year. At this point, with the way
I traded Jamison Williams to Timmy for Garrett Wilson straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a trade I think is working out for me right now, but. I was always high on Jamison Williams. I always thought he was the fastest receiver out of that draft. So, high hopes for him. High hopes for Jamison Williams.
I build a future with that team.
Yeah, and his team is already solid with, they got Amon-Ra, they got Swift.
Mm-hmm.
And Goff's been playing pretty good this year. So, yeah, definitely a lot of potential out there in Detroit. Brings me to the 3rd place team, Kakuda.
The defending champ.
Washington Redskins.
The name of his team, the Washington Redskins. But another team, he has probably the best receiving core, not only for a redraft league, but definitely for a dynasty team. I mean, if your starting receivers are Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, you don't have to draft a receiver in the next 3, 4, 5 years and just build around those 3 guys. I know Jamar Chase is out for him, but I mean, a lot of people were talking about Kakuda's team, and he won it last year with Jimmy G as his second best quarterback. He knows what he's doing. He gets a lot of sleeper picks. He has Ramondre sitting there. He got Dameon Pierce late in the rookie draft this year in the late first round, and those are 2 young backs, and with Jamar Chase comes back and Justin Jefferson, and he has Travis Kelce. I mean, it's a scary team. I mean, his quarterback, doesn't have a lot of depth there. I mean, he has Bailey Zappi and Malik Willis, guys that aren't starting right now, but Derek Carr and Trevor Lawrence, they put up decent amount of points for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember when he made this Trevor Lawrence and Ramondre Stevenson trade. He did it for Lamar Jackson, and I was thinking like, wow, like Ramondre was the RB2 in
Mm-hmm.
New England at that time, and Trevor Lawrence, was coming off his horrid rookie year. So
Mm-hmm.
I was just kind of like flabbergasted by this trade at first, but it's working out for him, it seems like, and it's
Mm-hmm.
working out for Timmy as well. So I guess you could call it a win-win
Yeah.
because Ramondre's going balling out of his mind right now, and Trevor Lawrence is the QB9. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
No,
uh,
Kakuda definitely has a
definitely knows what
chance
he's
to
doing.
defend his title,
Yeah,
definitely, without a
definitely.
doubt. Definitely another team that I'm scared of.
And yeah, we're kind of gonna do this based off rankings. We're gonna like to rank the 1 through 4 teams. So we're gonna be on our number 4 team is
Mm-hmm.
gonna be Joe's team,
The commissioner, Joe.
Commissioner Joe, into
The
the
Joe
end
Missioner,
zone.
yeah.
Shout out to his dog named Enzo. That's why his team name is Into the End Zone. But yeah, he has Josh Allen. Scary news for Josh Allen
Mm-hmm.
owners. Has a UCL injury,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's the ligament that when you need Tommy John, that's the ligament that's damaged. So
Nice.
hopefully, positive vibes for Josh Allen. Coach is calling him day to day.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like I like Joe's team a lot. I think he has a very scary team. He has Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, and Austin Eckler. So those are two RB1s. Those are some killers, as we would call in our Halloween
Yeah.
episode.
And
And
Tyreek Hill, who should have been our killer in that episode, looking
yeah,
like the #1 fantasy player this year, looking like a league winner, Tyreek Hill. Yeah, he's made all the right trades. You know, he traded for Saquon Barkley, he traded for Austin Eckler, he traded for Tyreek Hill, he traded for Gabe Davis, and most of these guys he didn't draft. And when I'm looking at it, I'm like Josh Allen and Brandon Ayuk are the only two guys I really remember him drafting. And Brandon Ayuk, a guy that I like and talk about. If Waller can come back and healthy and go back to the a top five tight end in the league like he's been pretty much the last few years, then his team looks a lot better than a fourth seed for sure.
yeah, for sure.
And
And
not a lot of depth, I would say, but we'll see what if Cam Akers can ever come around. I know he has Dobbins on the IR. We'll see if he can come back and do what he did that one week where he popped off when he finally. But other
yeah,
than that, Elijah Moore hasn't really done anything this year. I mean, Alec Pierce, when I look at his bench, is his best bench player right now, and you
maybe
know,
even Brandon Cooks, but
but he's questionable. You don't know when or if he'll ever play this season, or he's just
yeah,
gonna sit out or what, or just. But his starters, if that team can stay healthy, doesn't like I said, doesn't have a lot of backup running backs. But Eckler and Bart, you can build your this year around those two guys for
yeah,
sure.
for sure. And yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap it up for the 1 through 4 teams. Obviously, obviously you have yourself winning in the championship, but
Yeah, I mean, of course, I never want to count myself out, and if I didn't, then I would, just start shading away and trying to rebuild and stuff. But
yeah,
definitely, I mean, but those other three teams, Timmy's team, Kakuda's team, and Joe's team. I mean, those teams are probably think will give me the best run for my money. I know there's a lot of good
yeah,
teams in this league. There's probably like 6, 7 good teams, but I think that's like the S tier of those 4 teams.
yeah,
Just with like
for
Timmy's
sure.
team has just that all around just crazy amount of depth. Kakuda's team obviously has the best receivers, and Joe I think probably has the best running backs in the league. So
Yeah, yeah. My little championship prediction is you and Timmy going to the finals, but I think I might have to go with my boy Timmy.
yeah, his team's too
Just
good.
because his team's a little stacked. But you never know. Fantasy's a game of mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
Anything could happen. We'll just go on to the number 5 seed, which will be Benny's team, Benny Blanco.
The guy who thinks he's gonna win it all.
We always have that one guy in our dynasty leagues,
But his
but
team's not that bad.
it's not that bad. No, he has those for sure players in Kamara and Devontae Adams. Alan Lazar was actually a surprising player I was looking at today.
Mm-hmm.
He's averaging like 15.7 PPR points, and he's the wide receiver 19.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not something I would have expected this year. I was very low on Alan Lazard, so proving me wrong. Definitely is questionable, but yeah. Has Najee, who as we all know, has had one of the most disappointing seasons for a fantasy player.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Amari Cooper, a nice flex. Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones has been super above average this season. And yeah, that's pretty much Benny Blanco's team. He has Taylor Heineke, Matthew Stafford, Kenyon Drake had a nice week last week too.
He has a lot of guys that like they have late season, upside. Maybe Najee can finally turn it around. Maybe Chris Godwin can stay healthy and turn it around.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper, he's been good, but he has a lot more potential when Deshaun Watson comes back in a couple weeks. If he can just stay in the playoff hunt, and here comes Watson making Amari Cooper, top receiver in the league again.
Yeah.
And even Cortland Sutton, he started off hot, and since I know you're always mentioning how he's getting like 7 receptions or 7 targets a game,
Yeah.
and he's only had like 6 receptions or targets the last like 3 weeks. He's fell off, but maybe he can get that potential back up. Jacoby Myers has been good. He's a wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
And in the games he plays, if you combine all his averages this year, he's a wide receiver 1 when he's on the field. So, a lot of receivers on his team that have a lot of upside.
And his best player, in my opinion, is on IR and Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
So
when he comes back, his tight end's going to be filled, and, can build a team around those receivers. I mean, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, Lazard, like you said, Sutton, Jacoby Myers, those guys are all wide receiver 1s on their team.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and Benny traded Aaron Rodgers away for Tom Brady in a second.
Recently,
we all know we all know in our league that Benny doesn't like picks, so he did this trade to get a little pick back. But
yeah, surprisingly.
But yeah, that's Benny's team. Let's move on to our number 6 team.
The Angels team.
Angels team, which is you're about to lose to Dak.
Yeah, I like his team. I
really like Angels team a lot too.
I mean, right now they're that last playoff seed right now, but another team that has just some absolute killer. I mean, Stephon Diggs is on that team. ETN now is the main back in Jacksonville. Should be popping off for him. He has Cordero back. Christian McCaffrey, what he does when he's on the field, and now what he does in San Francisco, and how they're going to utilize him, obviously.
Yeah. He's pretty much good at every position except quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I like Dak there. Now that, Dallas is on that bye week, you can start him for the rest of the year. Obviously, you're going to have him for the first, 5-6 weeks of the season, whatever it was. Yeah. Matt Ryan now is out, and, Sam Ellinger took his spot. Baker. He has Baker and PJ. It's going to be one of those guys starting, but either of them aren't good enough to really be in that super flex spot for him, which I think he lacks in that super flex spot. But he can plug in, a back. Maybe, Brian Robinson starts heating up. Maybe James Robinson, just absolutely starts exploding for New York. But other than that, I mean, he has T. Higgins as well. So, I mean, his receivers are, decent.
And his flex receivers, they're either injured or they haven't been producing. I've been very high on Mike Williams. I've been very high on Hunter Renfrow, and Mike Williams has been injured, and Hunter Renfrow really hasn't even done anything this year.
Since coming back from his concussion.
So
he has Duvernay, who's been a sleeper, and I mean, the reason I beat him this past week, I beat him by like 2 points. He had 2 players on that Monday night game, and I was up 4 points, and he had Taysom Hill and Duvernay left him out. He only needs like 4 points from these 2 players. Like, I'm definitely gonna lose, and they combined for 2 points, and I beat them by 2 points. So. And that's where, that's what I'm talking about. That depth didn't come in. PJ Walker was his starting quarterback last week. He put up negative 3.7, which was obviously the difference. He could have benched him and not even played anyone. He would have won that game. But that's where the depth comes in. Duvernay obviously didn't do anything. Taysom Hill, he's a hit or miss backup tight end. And Njoku was balling, and if he gets healthy and comes back strong, another guy when Watson comes back should be the second probably receiving option on that team. But yeah. After these bye weeks come by and he can sneak in the playoffs, then he does have a lot of. I mean, he has a lot of guys on bye this week again with T. Higgins and James Robinson, and now Mike Williams is out. But if his team could come around, get through these bye weeks, and sneak in the playoffs, I mean, that starting lineup is going to be one to mess with.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play his team if I was a top seed for sure. And that's you're gonna lose to Dak's team. It's going to bring me to my team. I'm the 7th seed. Tua Shakur is my team name. We got Tua. We got J.D. McKissick in the Antonio Gibson Washington Commanders running back stack. And, I got some young receivers in Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, and Drake London. So, pretty much I traded Eckler for Drake London, 2 firsts and a second, and I also traded away Brandon Cooks. Pretty much my thought process going into the future is I'm pretty much just gonna build my team around my quarterbacks, Jalen Waddle, Judy, and Drake London. And yeah, probably gonna go running back heavy in the drafts, with a little sprinkle of quarterback if I could stumble upon a good one. And yeah, man, my bench is just completely garbage. I got Mariota, Justice Hill. I got no running back. Um, yeah, Garrett Wilson. I'm also gonna be another player I build my team around. But yeah, other than that, it's just rebuilding, man. We're in the rebuilding stage. If we could sneak into playoffs, that's cool. But wasn't expecting to do much in playoffs, even if I did have Eckler. I'm looking at all these teams, and there's just a lot of comp out there. Your team's nice. Kakuta's team's nice. Timmy's team is godly in my opinion. So, yeah, I just made the trade to get as much value as I could get.
Yeah, like you said, you can build around those receivers for sure. I mean, Waddle, Judy, Wilson, and London. I mean, those are just 4 young, talented receivers right there.
Yeah.
Like you said, if you can build with running backs, obviously you have no backs on this team when I look. And you had a lot of misses this year in the rookie draft. I mean, you're lucky enough to trade Jamison Williams and get Garrett Wilson. You're lucky to get Jake London, but
Yeah.
you drafted Spiller, Davis Price, Tolbert hasn't been on the field. Any of these guys haven't
Yeah, all
really played at
misses.
all. So,
Yeah.
but you can, you can't miss 2 years in the rookie drafts. And you have, some draft picks you can get and go get some backs and maybe trade up for a
Yeah.
first rounder, a late first rounder or something.
Yeah, and I made the mistake of trying to draft my running backs handcuffs. We had a segment a couple of weeks ago on how that's not really the best thing, and now I'm learning from it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He had every Niners back except for Jeff Wilson, the only one.
The only one that was playing. So that's just how fantasy is sometimes. So yeah, I'm just pretty much in the rebuild mode in this league.
Yeah.
After this Eckler trade.
Yeah. That moves us on to our next team, which is who is the 8th seed in this?
It's gonna be Nick A.
Nick A. He was in the championship game last year.
Kareem my pants.
Yeah, his team isn't too bad. I mean,
I honestly think he should not be the 8th seed for having this team.
Well, the thing is his quarterbacks. I mean, Kenny Pickett and Davis Mills are his quarterbacks. and super flex leagues, quarterbacks are very important, especially in, dynasty leagues are super important. And he doesn't have a draft pick next year. Who knows if Trey Lance can come back and be the same or even start on the Niners. I mean, maybe Pickett can finally turn it around with the full off season as the starting quarterback. But
I'm sorry, I think you have Devon's team.
Oh,
We're on Nick A's team.
do I do have Devon's team. You're right.
No worries.
Back up to Nick A's team.
No worries. So yeah, Nick A has Kyler Murray, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Cooper Kupp. That's why I was saying that he should not be an eighth seed for having this team. Zach Ertz, he's I believe he's the tight end 3. He's a tight end. Yeah, tight end 3 in PPR. So I just feel like maybe he's had some really bad beats. I remember I beat him by 0.8 one week, and as you know, my team is not as good as his team. So I just feel like he's had some really bad beats. He has Ryan Tannehill, so he pretty much has no quarterback too. And yeah, he had Mixon, who had that amazing week last week. And I feel like his team is definitely going to go up the standings for sure.
Definitely some bad beats, like you said. He traded for Jacobs, traded a first for him, and yeah, his team could sneak in. I mean, another sleeper team is like Kakuta. A lot of people might doubt their strategy, but they always find a way to win. And I mean, he knows what he's doing. Obviously, I like his receivers a lot.
Yeah,
and
I honestly thought he gave up too much, giving up that 23 pick. But then Jacobs is just going.
Yeah, he slowed down a bit but I mean,
yeah,
you can't expect them to put up those 30-point fantasy points each week.
I definitely think Jacobs finishes as a RB1 in the top 12 for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And now that will move us on to Devon's team.
Devon's team.
I was looking at the wrong team here, but
no worries.
Poor Devon, man. He has no quarterbacks, and he has no draft picks for next year, like I was saying. And I know he was high on Trey Lance, and he's he was kind of upset that he made some bad trades, trading away like Tyreek Hill, and I always ask him for CeeDee Lamb, and he's telling me he doesn't want to trade anymore in this league, and I mean, he can trade some of these guys and get some draft picks if anything, but I mean, other guys had some bad beats. Marquise Brown, was hot, and now he's out.
Yeah.
Trey Lance is out. Kadarius Toney's was out, and now he's finally found a new team. Maybe too late. He's lost Javonte Williams. He's been out. So a lot of injuries that have really, really hurt his team. And
yeah. If you put all the players that are injured in the starting lineup right now, he has a solid team.
Yeah, and
he has a very solid team.
His quarterbacks can get carried by, guys like Javonte Williams and Marquise Brown and guys, of that statue. And
yeah, right now you only have like CeeDee Lamb and Olave that can pretty much rely on.
And his team is super young too. I mean, but like AJ Dillon's still young, Darrell Henderson, we'll see what happens. But I mean, if he can, if Javonte Williams comes back and he's what we all thought he was, and James Cook can maybe fill in to be a starting running back next year, maybe Benjamin or someone like that. And Benjamin was balling for Arizona when he filled in for James Conner, and he still has DJ Moore, who's super young. His receivers are talented and young, and if he can just get some quarterbacks in there, like I just said, Kenny Pickett with a full offseason, working as a starting quarterback for Pittsburgh, there's a chance where he has, a sleeper there in Kenny Pickett, and if he can maybe trade some guys for some draft picks or something for next year, or he does have a lot of, like I said, good receivers and just high potential running backs. AJ Dillon obviously hasn't been anything this year, and
yeah,
it's been tough. I know he's it's been tough for him, but Davis Mills is probably a guy you can he traded Daniel Jones too. He had on his team, so he's had some guys that he's traded away where his team could have looked a lot better. But.
Yeah. And I think he was really high on A.J. Dillon. I was really high on A.J. Dillon in the beginning of the year. I thought he was going to take that RB1 role in Green Bay from Aaron Jones right away, and it still hasn't happened, and it just seems like Aaron Jones is the man over there, and who knows when A.J. Dillon is going to take over that backfield.
Yeah, it could be. Who knows?
Yeah. But, yeah, that's Devon's team. That's gonna bring us to number 10.
To be Donnie's team.
Oh hell yeah, Donnie's team, the guy that doesn't like any youngsters, only likes the old guys.
If you look at his team, they're all old. And when the season started, I looked at this team and I was like, it's a scary team. I mean, it is a scary team. But a lot of injuries to his team. He's lost Keenan Allen for a lot of games. He's lost Michael Thomas for the year now. He still has Odell Beckham, who hasn't signed yet. Jarvis Landry's missed games. Julio Jones has missed games. George Kittle has missed games. I mean, you talk about all these guys that are missed games that are starting, in your lineup week in, week out. Now you have to dive into your bench. And, DeAndre Hopkins was suspended to start the season. And, if this team's healthy.
30.
Yeah, he's 30 years old. But all these guys are old. Adam Thielen's old. Tyler Lockett's getting up there. Dalvin Cook's getting up there. Ezekiel Elliott's getting up there. Russell Wilson has advertised over there. But, I mean, if you look at this team, if you look and they're healthy, it's a really, really good team. I mean, he can,
without a doubt.
I mean, if he was in
it, it's a really good redraft team.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
really good, and it's a team that you look like, okay, like they're healthy. You don't want to play this team.
Yeah.
Right. Like you said, he doesn't like any youngsters. He traded away all the young guys away. Traded away all his draft picks away to get this team, and he just traded for the wrong old guys that are just that's the thing about Dynasty. You can't have all old guys because once they start falling.
Once they have a hamstring injury, it's gonna take some time.
Yeah, because you need an ACL tear, a foot injury like Michael Thomas. We're not even talking guys that tore their Achilles or ACLs or very serious injuries that are gonna take younger guys are gonna be out for the season as well with these injuries. They're talking about foot injuries and hamstrings and quads and this and that, and it's been tough for him. He has a lot of quarterbacks. He has 4 quarterbacks. So he does have a lot of guys he can trade away for guys that need quarterbacks. But
has 5 if you include Carson Wentz on the IR.
Yeah. So he had 5 quarterbacks on the most to start. Now I looked at his team, like I said, to start the season. I was like, wow, it's a good team. And when Hopkins comes back, it's gonna be a really good team. But he needed Hopkins obviously for those first 6 weeks, and that's why he's 10th seed and with no draft picks for next year. Or he has a 3rd pick for next year, but. He needs to start getting rid of some of these old guys, and but that's his strategy if he likes it.
Yeah, I mean,
this team could be good next year. He might have one good run by next year.
Yeah, but I don't know about his future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just move on. to another team with a really bright future. Happy Baby Yoga Pose,
Yeah.
Chanimals. I really like Chan's team for a rebuilding team.
Yeah,
I
I love
love,
his strategy too. I mean,
yeah.
look how many draft picks.
Yeah,
One,
let's look at his
two,
picks.
three, 4, 5, 6, 7. He has more than half of the draft picks for the rookie draft. First round draft picks. He also has a third. So I mean, that's just insane. He's gonna be hogging the whole draft next year, and it's what he texted us. He wants to hog the whole draft, and
Yeah, I mean, everyone has a different strategy, man, and
we just talked about the old team. Now we're talking about a young team who has, trying to. He's okay with getting last place. Donnie's
yeah.
they're trying to say he's okay with not having a future and winning it all these next 2 years, but he's in 10th place, right in front of Chan, who has a way brighter future. And you look at his quarterbacks; those are, I mean, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson for next year, and Kenneth Walker and Pollard and Darnell Mooney's starting to get hot now with red hot Justin Fields, and T.J. Hawkinson has a new home in Minnesota, and he's been high on Josh Palmer, who's looked okay at times, but I mean everyone else on his team has really no fantasy relevance at all. I'm not going to even get into anyone else on his team, but those first round draft picks will definitely make up for
Yeah.
any of those misses that he has on his team, which he's okay. He's all right. He built his team to really have those draft picks and everything, so
Yeah.
it should work out for him.
Yeah, and it all started with this trade over here back in November 9th, 2021 that happened with me. I gave him T.J. Hawkinson 2 firsts, a second and a third for Gronk, Lockett, and Cam Akers. So yeah, man, I really like his strategy too. His team is looking really nice for the future. I love Kenneth Walker. I love Darnell Mooney. I love T.J. Hawkinson. Josh Palmer is a nice option when everyone else is out in the Chargers. So, and I love his quarterback. So, Jordan Love might get his chance pretty soon with the way Aaron Rodgers is playing. Well, you never know. So, yeah, Chan's team's looking really nice. I like it way better than the 12th place team in the league. Donovan.
Devon's brother, yeah.
Cold AF in the Burrow. I just feel like he's never really made trades. I just feel like he's never really wanted to make trades, and by not making trades, you don't really progress in Dynasty, and we see it here. Like he only has Joe Burrow. His other quarterback is Desmond Ridder, and he's not even the starting quarterback in his own team. So
he's been streaming quarterbacks that get injured. He picked up like Wolford this week in case Stafford's out with the concussion, but
yeah.
And he does have 2 first rounders next year. So Chan has 7, he has 2. I have the other 2. I wonder where that other one is. I don't know who has the other one of the 2023, but someone out there has them. And so I mean, us 3 teams alone make up for almost 99% of that draft. And but he has 2 of them, and he has a second round pick. He can really maybe build with those 2, and hopefully Treylon Burks can come back and be the guy to prove why the Titans traded AJ Brown for him. Still don't know why they did that, but I mean, a lot of young guys. Khalil Herbert can take over that backfield next year. At least he's looking like he's going to take over that backfield next year. And he has Miles Sanders in case anything happens to him. He has Kenneth Gainwell, and some
a lot of good RB2s.
Yeah, he has a lot of bright spots. Deontay Johnson. Rondell Moore can really fill in there, and they like Rondell Moore a lot in Arizona. But yeah, a lot of RB2s. I mean, he's gonna have to. I don't know. He's going to have to get a running back and a receiver and a quarterback for sure with those 3 picks next year. He just has to decide who he wants in the first round and who he wants in that second round. And if he can trade some of these guys for some picks, like a Miles Sanders or a Montgomery to a contender, someone that wants to take a chance on them. Me personally, I wouldn't, but there's guys out there that could. And
yeah, I think he should just trade away Miles Sanders and try to get whatever he can.
And I offered him a good trade for Joe Burrow. He wants to build, but it's Dynasty. You're in it for the long haul. He's not in it to even win it next year, like Chan.
Yeah.
But he has, he has picks for 2024. He has his 2025 picks. Like I say, he has 3 picks 2023, so he can build with that.
And yeah, that wraps up our Shark Tank. This is we're in year 2, and this is pretty much the week 10 or week 9 recap of our Shark Tank league. That's gonna bring us to our Big Dogs league that we just started this year. my favorite league, of course, because I'm 9-0 in it. I'm co-commish, and yeah, let's just hop right into it, man, because there's a lot of things to talk about. So yeah, I got Justin Herbert. I got Aaron Jones, James Conner, Tyler Lockett, Waddle, Ertz. Um, I just feel like I made a good move with this Justin Fields trade. I was kind of panicking a couple weeks ago when Mac Jones was injured. So I went out and I got James Conner, Justin Fields, Kadarius Toney, and Jahan Dotson for Rashad White, Mac Jones, Leonard Fournette, and a 23 second and a 24 third. So I'm definitely liking this trade for me. Justin Fields, as we said, he's looking like a dynasty quarterback one. Exploded last week, and yeah, exploded for my team. And I'm just feeling really confident, man. I feel kind of invincible in this league, but I know there's gonna be that one week where it's not gonna go my way, and I just hope that isn't in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ramondre, my favorite running back. He's been honestly like one of my stars. I love Ramondre. I have Kadarius Toney and Jahan Dotson just sitting there waiting for them to pop off, and once they do, I'm most likely going to be inserting them into the lineup because I'm not too confident with Montgomery. Michael Pittman, he's kind of this year. I need his quarterback situation to get better. And yeah, Lockett and Waddle. Waddle, I love Waddle, man. I've always been high on Waddle, you know this. And Lockett it's caught me by surprise. As you can see, his nickname right here is "I was wrong about you. I love you." So yeah, my team, man. I love this team.
Yeah, definitely a good team. A lot of guys that are you don't have a lot of youth in your team, especially with your running back situation, but guys that can stay in there and
Yeah.
except for Ramondre, I do like him, and your receivers are still young, Waddle and Pittman. I love both of them, and
Yeah,
your quarterbacks you can build around. You still have your draft picks for next year, your first and second, and you can hopefully Mike Williams can come back and take over like he used to, and you have Kadarius Toney who can see what he can do, and definitely some guys on your team that you definitely have a nice starting lineup for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, when I was drafting my running backs, I was already going in with the mentality that I wasn't drafting them for youth. I was drafting them to get production out of them, even if they were old. So, yeah, that's just my little strategy. I'm hoping for the best. Brings me to the second place team. Honestly, the team that scares me the most is going to be Chan's team. Boone season, the little joke we have in our league is Chan spent $89 for Mike Boone and didn't do nothing. So, yep, that's Boone season. But regardless, he has a super nice team. He has Russell Wilson. I love his wide receivers. He has Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans. Like those are three wide receiver ones. T.J. Hawkinson. He's on the come up. Definitely has Kelsey and Andrew's potential, I feel like.
Yeah, and he got lucky with Foreman now because he lost Javonte Williams, his second round pick. And, Foreman's luckily been able to come in there, and he had, Melvin Gordon as a backup. That's why he spent all that money on Mike Boone. And, you don't really need star running backs. If Melvin Gordon and Foreman could put up a solid 15 points, and you have Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and Mike Evans, guys that are going to be popping off week in, week out. You don't have to worry about them. Start and forget receivers. Hawkinson on a new team. Does have a lot of Vikings, Kirk Cousins, Hawkinson, and Jefferson, but in a pass-friendly offense, that's a team that, that those are fantasy players you want to stack with.
And he didn't even know Hawkinson was going to go to the Vikings. Yeah. So, only thing I do not like that he did was this trade with Timmy. It's Justin Jefferson for Jamar Chase, but he got the second and he gave up a first. But I mean, everyone has
drafted Justin Jefferson.
He could have drafted Justin Jefferson, and he just traded for him. He just pretty much gave him a first for a second, but whatever. He has
a good team. So
yeah, he's a second place team. It's working out for him. Good for him. Going on to our third place team. Luka me beat you, Joe. He has Mahomes, Jacobs, Ezekiel Elliott, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins. I just feel like Mahomes, Diggs, and Hopkins, they're S tier. They're S tier players.
And another team that has a lot of like Diggs and Hopkins for this year. Obviously, even Diggs and Hopkins, for the next 3, 4, 5 years. But I mean, look at his receivers. Calvin
Yeah.
Ridley next year on the Jacksonville should be a beast. Drake London obviously slowed down. Garrett Wilson, Alec Pierce. I mean, those three rookies, Drake London, Pierce, and uh, Garrett Wilson, Alex Pierce, and Drake London are just guys you can really build a dynasty team around.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even have to start them because he has Diggs and Hopkins. These guys are not going to be starting over Diggs and Hopkins now in fantasy, but you can, or Godwin. He also has Godwin, but you can definitely start him.
Within
next couple years.
Yeah.
So, and his backs, he still has Jacobs is young,
Andrews.
and Zeke's young. He has Mark Andrews as well. That's another good team where he got through those buys and he had that depth, and now that Hopkins is back, he can throw him in there, set and forget, and take
another
off from
scary
there.
team for sure. Another team I'm definitely intimidated by.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's Joe's team. Fourth place team is going to be, whose team is that?
It's going to be
the commissioner, my boy Timmy.
Another good team he has.
And another super good team. He has a lot of players I like. Saquon, Kenneth Walker.
Those backs are scary.
I love George Pickens, Jalen Hurts having an amazing season. Timmy's team, man, it's really nasty.
Yeah, he's always hitting me up saying I need a receiver. I'm like, I need a receiver too in this league. I mean, Joe and Sean and you guys are all hogging all the receivers. That's why you guys are the top 3 seeds. But I mean, sometimes you don't really. If some of these receivers you can pop off, you can build around Saquon, Kamara, and Kenneth Walker now week in, week out, and maybe George Kittle can finally come around. He still has Jamar Chase. He's obviously out right now, but once he gets in playoffs, he starts Jamar Chase with those running backs I just named, and with Jalen Hurts looking just like the fantasy god this season. Just watch out, and he does have quarterback depth as well. Jimmy G, Zach Wilson, Ryan Tannehill, all starting quarterbacks on their team, but he definitely needs. Hopefully, if Odell can sign with a good team and he can be, maybe that late round sleeper league winner like Amon-Ra was last year. He came in the last 3-4 weeks and took off for everybody, but definitely. Obviously, he traded Treylon. I traded him Treylon Burks, who at the time I regret. I mean, look at his 2 IR guys: Treylon Burks, Jamison Williams. So a lot of his receivers are out right now, and Elijah Moore hasn't been good, but like I said, high ceiling guys with those running backs is a really good team. If that team's 100% healthy, that's definitely a league-winning team right there.
Yeah. What's your championship prediction for this one?
For these 4, I do like Sean's team a lot, just with those receivers. I do like Joe's team. I actually like my team a lot in this league too. Just I've had some bad breaks, honestly, but I'd like your team. But you've had some, gutty wins, which kind of scares me. That's gonna be hard to do, keep up with that luck. But I mean, I wouldn't count any of those top 4 teams out for sure. There's a lot. I think like the first 6, 7 seeds in this league are all good teams, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like Work Boyfriend. I like your team. Let's jump into Work Boyfriend's team.
Yeah, Angels team, the number 5 seed right now. So 5 and 4. His team's not bad. A lot of guys. I mean, a lot of guys that have been, good for him. Guys that I didn't like in the beginning. Like Geno Smith. I said it. I didn't like Miles Sanders. I didn't like Singletary. I didn't like Christian Kirk, Gerald Everett, Juju Smith. Really, all of these guys I would put on my do not draft list. But guys that have had decent games for him. A lot of them have started off slow. A lot of them have been up and down, and boom or bust. But if you can get those boom weeks to come playoff time with this starting lineup, and with Austin Eckler, a guy that's gonna put up 30+ points, without a doubt, and Joe Burrow gonna put up 25, 30 points without a doubt. Just could be a really, really good team. He has T. Higgins there to with that combination there.
That stack, yeah. Eckler and Miles Sanders definitely been the running backs to carry his team for sure.
Yeah, and his receivers have been breaking out. I mean, there are a lot of boomer busts. Juju's been a boomer bust. Christian Kirk, Darnell Mooney, but hey, he's 5th seed, and like I said, if you can just get those boom weeks in the playoff times, that's all you need. All you need to win one. That's it.
Yeah, you'll be set. Yeah, And yeah, that brings us to your team, seed number 6.
Yeah, I'm a 6 seed in this team. I like to see everyone on draft day was making fun of me saying I'm all in it to win it. Because I went McCaffrey, Henry, and Kelsey after I drafted CD with the first pick. But I like my team. I mean, my backs. I mean, Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry, both favorites to win comeback player of the year this year because they're back to their healthy selves right now, and
Yeah.
just knock on wood, hopefully they can stay that way.
Yeah.
I do need some receiving help with this team. I mean I like Ayuk and CeeDee Lamb a lot, 2 wide receiver ones. But I really don't have a lot of flex play in this league. I've been mixing up the flex play. Wan'Dale Robinson, a guy I'm still high on, should come back and be strong. Hopefully, Terrace Marshall has looked good, who I picked up on waivers. But that's Khalil Herbert's had those up and down weeks. Brian Robinson, Robert Woods has been unheard of. I like DPJ too, a guy that I plug in as my flex every now and then. But just a lot of my receivers, I'll have a lot of young receivers. A lot of young receivers. I'm like, what? Sky Moore, a rookie. Tyquan Thornton, a rookie. Romeo Doubs, a rookie. Jalen Tolbert, a rookie. And I have Wan'Dale Robinson, a rookie. So a lot of rookie receivers. But, I mean, if you look, Kelsey, Henry, and McCaffrey should be outscoring any other running back duo in this league. And definitely Travis Kelce is going to be outscoring any tight end in this league. So with those 3 guys, if I'm just outscoring the opposing team's running backs and I'm outscoring the opposing team's tight ends, all I need is from Brandon and Ayuk to continue what they've been doing. I know they just came off a bye week. Before that, I believe CeeDee Lamb was the wide receiver 11. Brandon Ayuk was the wide receiver 13. That's all I need when Henry and McCaffrey and Kelsey are doing the rest of the work. Danny Dimes has been good. He's a QB1 this year, I believe. Trevor Lawrence, I believe, is still a QB1 this year. If not, they're sitting just outside the QB1, area, borderline QB1. And like I said, just need those backs and my tight end to carry me, and then my flex spots I can plug in based on matchups. Maybe Wan'Dale, one of those Amon-Ra St. Brown guys towards the end of the year with the perfect stack for Daniel Jones. Terrace Marshall, like I said, has been hot. That's why I'm riding the hot hand this week. Or maybe Khalil Herbert by the end of the year steps in, or Brian Robinson, and then Robert Wood. Maybe he can finally get going. Who knows? Just a lot of. But as long as I have my guaranteed running backs, my guaranteed receivers, my guaranteed tight end, my guaranteed quarterbacks, those 2 flex spots really won't matter if those guys are popping up for 25-30.
Yeah. I love the nicknames you give your guys. Jalen Tolbert needs reps.
He does need reps.
Tyquan Thornton, here's a who.
My young guys. But yeah,
that's
Dobbs is out too, so
that's a big hit too, yeah. And yeah, you have some pretty nice players on your taxi squad. Hopefully James Cook could pick it back up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you still have all your picks. So
yeah, I'm definitely into it. I'm not trying to rebuild. I'm not trying to trade anyone right now. I'm not even picks right now. Yeah, I'm just taking it easy. I'm just riding. That's what I did last year, my first year too. I just rode the wave. And if I make playoffs in this league, I don't. If I do, I do. And whatever. That's
how I am in the other league. So that brings us to I believe that's A2's. A2's team, yeah.
The 7 teams make playoffs in this league, so looking like a playoff team. His team is
his team's solid.
His team is solid. I mean, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, 2 good quarterbacks. Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
that starting lineup is scary.
It really is. Those are 2 running back ones. I love Judy. Debo's Debo. So
not a lot of depth, definitely, and not a lot of young guys.
Not much in the flex.
His taxi squad is empty. He has no one on IR, and he has a kicker and a defense on his bench. So he really has no depth at all. I don't like Watkins. I don't like Huntley. I don't like Corey Davis, A. Jones, Scantley, or Hardman.
Boyd's nice.
I like Boyd. Nice. I like Boyd. I didn't say didn't like Boyd. And
Hardman's
nice. Been all right, but I mean,
other than that,
when I'm looking, I don't see anyone. Good. I see 4 empty taxi spots. I see 2 empty IR spots, and I see a kicker and his defense on his bench. So those are.
And I see no 23 first.
Yeah, and his starting lineup's definitely good, but you do need that depth come late in the season, and you've seen it. If Clyde Edwards loses his spot, now who you plugging in? Amari Cooper has a bye. Deebo Samuel's missed game.
I would trade for Hunt if I was him, honestly. Try to do a little.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, obviously he has Josh Allen, number 1, but what happens when he goes out? Jacoby Myers for 2 games until Deshaun comes back? And I mean, I think just not a lot of depth there, and not a lot of young players either. Kind of going with that Donnie strategy from you know.
Yeah, from the other league.
Yeah, but we'll
But I
see.
mean, he
can build a team
has
around
younger
Josh
players
Allen
than Donnie.
yeah,
So.
he has Jerry Jeudy, Debo, and Amari Cooper. I like his receivers and his
Yeah.
running backs definitely.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna bring us to the number 8 team.
8 team who has
Natural born Kylers, Blue Eyes.
Blue Eyes.
Has Kyler Murray, Madison, Hasty. I do not like his running backs right off the bat.
Yeah, but he's mixing on the bench right now.
Oh yeah, mixing on a bye.
Who got injured?
Yeah,
on
mixing
this
on the
team?
bye.
Well, Dobbins, see, but
Oh yeah, and he has Kenyon on the bye too. I like Kenyon might be a nice little sleeper. Our running
he
back
has
for the
Dobbins
rest of the
too.
year.
So
Yeah.
he has the backups in Baltimore. He has the handcuffs. He has a lot of handcuffs. Has Samaje Perine, the Mixon's backup, and another guy. He has 2 defenses on his his bench. Not a lot of depth there either. Doesn't have a backup quarterback right now. He's running with Pickett and Kyler's been a miss this year. And I like his receivers are young. I mean, Metcalf's young, Amon-Ra St. Brown young, DJ Moore all young, and all wide receiver ones on their team. Definitely love his receivers. Definitely gonna have to probably build some running backs in the draft next year. But
You know, Kyler's a quarterback 6.
His team, a team that I haven't told Blue Eyes and like draft him. I think you have the worst team drafted. So. And I mean, he's still 8th seed, not bad, not bad. He can maybe sneak in the playoffs and be a little, give some problems, but
yeah. I was saying Kyler's not that much of a miss. He's quarterback 6.
No, yeah, but people are driving him as a 3rd, 4th quarterback. So.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's had a lot of bad weeks.
Yeah,
a lot of good weeks, like a boomer bust type quarterback. But
yeah, his receivers are nice. I mean, other than that, there's not much else nice about this team. Yeah, but that brings us to the 10th place team. Double D.
Ninth.
Oh yeah, 9th. My bad. Yeah. What do I do without Child? Devon's team. Mariota. He has Mariota, Fournette, Pierce, Olave, AJ Brown. He has a pretty nice team.
Yeah, I don't. I'm looking at this team right now, and I'm like, I don't know how this team's a 10th place team. He had Breece Hall to start the year, and he still has Fournette. He still has Pierce. I mean, Pierce and Breece Hall are gonna be a nasty Dynasty running back duo.
When did he get all these picks? I don't remember him getting all these picks.
Yeah.
Well, anyways.
He did good. He traded good in this league. He didn't trade so good in Shark Tank. But definitely he knows what he's doing a lot more in this league. And I do like his team a lot.
Oh, I gave him some picks, but I didn't get him first. No.
He has Mac. I mean, I like this team. I don't know how this team's a 10th place team. His wide. I mean, look at these youngins on his team. AJ Brown, Chris Olave, Damian Pierce, and Breece Hall. Those 4 young guys right there. That's a future right there with those 4 guys. You can really, really build a team around those 4 guys, and with all those picks too. Yeah, I like this team. I don't know how this is. I don't know how this is a 9th place team, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember trading AJ Brown too for Jalen Waddle in a second. Has worked out for both of us. I feel like so.
Yeah, we still got a second, but I like Devon's team. Definitely a lot better in this league for sure. I like this team a lot. Yeah. I like it a lot.
Yeah, has a lot of potential.
I really looked at it.
Yeah, me either. I didn't realize how many picks he has either.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Devon's team. This brings us to the 10th place team, Double D Cups.
Yeah, that's gonna be Shmoney's team, right? Another team that I like.
Yeah, I feel like
he's on draft day. I said Shmoney had the best team drafted. I was like, dang, Shmoney, you have the best team. I really loved your team, but a lot of injuries. You look here, Tua missed games. Etienne wasn't the starting back. Swift's missed games.
Cup's a dog.
Cup's been his best player. Devontae Smith hit or miss. Dalton Schultz missed games. Jamal Williams has been, a nice sleeper for him. Pollard's been a nice sleeper for him, but Winston's missed games. Chase Edmonds lost his job and got traded. Antonio Gibson lost his job and to finally get it back. Bateman now missing games. Njoku's missed games.
Brown out.
Marquise Brown out. But you look at this team healthy, that's a championship squad right there. I mean, I look at this team. I'm like, this is a solid team. But
he has 2 firsts.
Yeah, a lot of injuries on this team. A lot of injuries, which hurt in fantasy. And you can't. And I can't even say, well, he doesn't have depth. He definitely has depth enough to.
Honestly, he might be my favorite for next year.
Injured, yeah.
He might be my favorite for next year, honestly.
It's still a young team, so.
But yeah, that's Shmoney's team, a surprise 10th place team.
Yeah, some of his 9th and 10th seeds.
And then that just brings us to Ed's team. Honestly,
he's the 11th seed.
Ed, Ed? Yeah, Ed's the
Ed's
11th
11th,
seed.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, he went quarterback heavy, and it really didn't work out for him.
Yeah, I really do not like Ed's team.
Yeah, I mean, he went, I think, Lamar, Dak, and Deshaun, his first 3 picks, or definitely in the first 4. Definitely in the first 4, and it didn't work out. You know, Dak's missed games, and after that, Deshaun's been suspended, and he's had to rely on backups. Another guy that's kind of been hurt by injuries. You know, lost Rashad Penny, lost Keenan Allen, lost Michael Thomas, Elijah Mitchell he lost. His team ain't that bad. A lot of injuries, but I don't like just not a lot of depth on this team. I mean, I'm looking at who we started, like Dwamie Brown and Curtis Samuel, Ben Skowronek.
Yeah.
These are the guys that are filling in for his injured players. And, you know, if you look at Shmoney's team, all his depth's injured too. But this team, his depth's healthy, but there's no depth there. And, you know, that's why I said in the beginning of the year with Dynasty, I didn't really go quarterback heavy in either league. I was able to get Jalen Hurts late last year, Tua late last year, Mac Jones late last year, and in Shark Tank and Big Dogs, got Trevor Lawrence late, got Daniel Jones late, got Matt Ryan late.
Yeah.
And, you know, the first 2 guys, Lawrence and Daniel Jones, have been decent enough, but I didn't really focus on going, you know, quarterback heavy. So
yeah.
And this is why.
Yeah.
When it happens, you have to rely on those 3 quarterbacks, and you have to rely on them all being healthy. And one injury can really, really change your season.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ed. I don't like your team.
Yeah, and we told him that.
Yeah, we tell him that. So, and yeah, the 12th place team, Petey's team, Miss Petey, but Aaron Rodgers, Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, all these guys, man, they're just kind of disappointments this year in fantasy.
It's a good young team.
He
Kyle
drafted
Pitts too.
every disappointment in fantasy. He drafted everyone.
I know he traded for Kyle Pitts and he traded for Najee Harris in the beginning of the year, and they've been misses. And Allen Robinson, another miss. And
even if he didn't trade for Najee Harris, he would have had Breece Hall, and Breece Hall got injured. So it would still not have looked good for Petey. But
and only one draft pick for next year.
I like AJ Dillon kind of.
Not a lot of depth. Definitely edit from the 9th and 10th seed down to the 11th and 12th. It's a big drop off. It's a big drop off. It is.
And then he has no picks.
At least Devin.
Where'd all his picks go?
And Devin Shmoney, they both have picks for next year too. And Ed and Petey really don't.
Well,
Ed has picks.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll see.
But yeah, I mean yeah. So that's our recap. I hope you enjoyed our little analyzations of everyone's team.
Yeah, every player at least for them. Try to get most of the relevant.
Every relevant players,
young players too, and well, we'll definitely bring one maybe at the end of the year after wrapping things up, and but we're gonna get into our next segment, just our Thursday night picks. Game between the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons, and I'll start off with my first pick, gonna be D'Onta Foreman. Had back-to-back weeks of 118 yards in weeks 7 and 8, and then week 9 kind of fell off. Actually, in week 8, he actually versed the Falcons and had 3 touchdowns and scored 31.8 fantasy points. And going against them, he was RB5 that week, which is crazy. 31.8 fantasy points, usually around the top 3 RBs in any fantasy week. But that was the week where everyone went crazy, week 8. And he's facing a Falcons defense that is 8th in the league in fantasy points given up. They gave up 26.19. So I think D'Onta Foreman should have another big game, even though Chuba Hubbard might be back. They did split the backfield in week 7. Hubbard had 46% of the snaps. Foreman had 54%. But we'll see. Foreman, even if they're splitting the backfield, I still see Foreman taking over this game.
Yeah, for sure. And that's gonna bring me to my first pick. It's gonna be Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts has been kind of heating up these past couple of weeks. He's week 8. He had 80 yards, 1 touchdown, and I believe 19 PPR points. So, yeah, Kyle Pitts definitely on my hit list this week for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna pick Kyle Pitts as well, but I'll pick his quarterback. Marcus Mariota had his second best game of the season. Week 8 versus Carolina, had 22.42 fantasy points. Had his most yards, though, that game. Had 253 yards and had his most touchdowns on the year. Had 3 touchdowns. But he did have 2 interceptions, which kind of ruin the day for him having his best fantasy output, but his second best against the Falcons D that I think against the Panthers defense. Against Panthers defense, I think he has another big game.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to bring me to my next pick is going to be DJ Moore. DJ Moore, another guy who's been heating up as of recent. Week 8, he also went off for, I believe, 27 plus PPR points. And I just see DJ Moore tearing up this Atlanta Falcons pass defense for sure.
And I'll pick the new guy, the new wide receiver 2 in Carolina, Terrace Marshall. Guy just said I'm very happy picking up off waivers. He actually just caught his first career touchdown last week with Baker Mayfield as a quarterback. They said Baker should be back in there as a starting quarterback again. And Terrace Marshall, he played over 90% of the snaps back-to-back weeks. And the last 3 weeks, he's played over 80% of the snaps. And in his rookie year, he's never played 80% of the snaps. And he's finally kind of stepped in there after the Robbie Anderson trade and kind of put decent numbers up, 2 double-digit, games, and playing more snaps and getting more reps and getting more accustomed to the Carolina offense over there. Obviously, another receiver over there. And, he had 87 yards versus the Falcons in Week 8, which is his career high. And facing the Falcons again, I expect, a big game. A guy you can maybe plug in your flex spot. I know I'm plugging him in my flex spot, so I'm choosing him as my sleeper, I guess you can say.
Yeah, definitely. My last pick for this game is going to be Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier actually carved up the Carolina rush defense for 17.5 PPR points. He was mainly effective on the receiving end. He caught 3 receptions of 3 targets, had 46 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Wasn't too effective on the ground, only had 14 carries for 39 yards, but you never know. This Carolina defense hasn't looked too consistent. They're either really good or really bad. So, I see Tyler Algier carving them up. He carved up my Los Angeles Chargers for 123 total yards in Week 9. So I definitely see a similar game coming from this Carolina game.
Yeah, definitely. Should be a fun little divisional matchup. Could be high scoring, could be low scoring. We'll see. But not a lot of fantasy relevance there in that game. But some guys use sleepers, But that'll conclude our episode 19 of the YouTube. And we're still trying to give away that jersey, trying to get us to 200 subscribers. So like, comment, share. All that good stuff.
And don't forget to catch the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts.
Yeah, this one might not be up on the podcast just because it is more of a visual one, but we'll definitely, our next episode this Friday, it'll be out Saturday. We'll have our next episode up on the podcast. So
yeah, for sure.
Stay tuned for that. And thank you guys again for staying tuned and for the support.
And we hope you enjoyed the recap. And this is your Big Fat Fantasy, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you guys.